bor in Bing William Ato in Juba Malatori am yo in Bing William Ato in Benti wala kwaju wow in Bing William Ato in Malkal wala Pinyaram in Bing William
Thank you so much to our viewers, Leg State Media team. Thanks a lot. And to our viewers, welcome to Leg State Media Beyond Boundaries. And in the studio with us today is Honorable Manon Jokaleu. Honorable Manon was the former Deputy Governor of Wow, Defang Wow State before the revert of 32 states, and is the chairperson of National SPLM Secretariat, United States of America. And today, Honorable Manon will speak to South Sudanese in diaspora based on 3 accounts. Number one, he will actually brief the General Assembly of South Sudanese in the United States of America on the recent visit of the President to the New York United States General Assembly, which happened on last week actually. He will brief us on that, and he will also speak in regard to the activities of the SPLM Secretariat in United States. What is the SPLM doing here in USA? And he will also echo some of the calls that they made as the community representative during their meeting with the President in regard to the forthcoming elections of our country, and maybe EBC in case of other business actually. You will mention some things that of our interest or the citizen. Once again, allow me to request our viewers now who are watching from different countries or different part of the world to share this live show on your Facebook wall in order to reach to many South Sudanese to listen to Honorable Manon Jokaleu. Honorable Manon, you're highly welcome to Leg State Media. We really appreciate your time and your quick response. The invitation we extended to you was on a short notice, and you responded positively, of which we are grateful for that. We will always engage with you as long you are at the front line when it comes to the affairs of our country. These are the people we always invite to come and articulate the issues that are affecting our people. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for everything. And the chance is yours to give us your opening remark within the next 2 to 3 minutes before we dive into our conversation. Thank you so much, and the chance is yours.
Thank you for having me, Stas Majok Makur, and also my pleasure for having me in Lake State Media. It is an honor for this great media with the talent young people that actually contributing into distribution of information and sharing information to our community across the world globally. And I have been observing the activities of Lake Media, and I encourage the team to continue to do the same thing. Especially our country is getting into democratic process. Those type of the media outlet in the social media and clubhouse will play a role in democratic process and information sharing. The one thing that I need to correct here is that I was actually Minister of Local Government in Lawley State. Minister of Local Government in Lawley State, and then I became acting governor when my boss, Kamal Rizik Zakaria Hassan, the former governor of Lake State, was, of Lawley State, was in Juba for 4 months. So I was acting governor. That's the only thing that I need to correct. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Manon, for that corrections, and we apologize for that. Yeah, actually, I really appreciate your recommendations and your encouragement to our Lake State Media. It is our privilege to serve our people in whatever capacity that we can. Thank you so much. Let's move on to our discussions of today. As we always engage in national discussions or conversation throughout, you have been at the front line on social media, especially on Clubhouse, Facebook, and whatever media stations that always invites you to go and articulate the issues of the SPLM party which you belong and the issues of our country. Mr. Manon, last week, President came to New York to attend the United Nations General Assembly, and you plus other South Sudanese gathered to receive the president warmly, and you arranged and you met the president. That was on Wednesday, on 20th September, if I'm not wrong. And in your meeting, there were representatives from women, youth, and also the community leadership. Kindly, can you brief the general public and our viewers on what was the discussions between the United States representative of America representative and His Excellency the President of the Republic? The chance is yours to brief the people. Thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure. President Kiir, which is also a chairman of the SPLM party and the president of Republic of South Sudan, has visited United States, I think around 2017. The last visit to the United States has been almost 10 years to come to America. And recently of the General Assembly of the UN, United Nations General Assembly 78 session, it was invited by the Secretary General to attend the Global Nation League of UN for the assembly. And I think from his request before he arrived to United States of America in New York, he was interested to meet with the South Sudanese communities and members of the SPLM. And the note was a short note that actually was given, but we did our best to mobilize leaders of South Sudanese leaders plus the SPLM leaders within the United States. And we went to New York on Monday, which is date 18. Some people were traveling on Sunday night and arrived over there on Sunday night. Those who are close to New York, because New York State, there's a lot of South Sudanese who are living in city of Syracuse, city of Buffalo, New York, and city of Utica, in New York City and surrounding those areas, Maryland and Virginia, and those South Sudanese American who are living in those areas. They were able to respond, even though with a short note. To some of them were able to buy the ticket, some of them to flew, and some of them also were able to use the vehicles on the ground and reach the New York City. The event was actually planned for those members of communities leaders and SPLM member leaders to meet the president in the airport, but due to the rain that day, there was severe rain, and at the same time there are also a delay of the president arrival, which is supposed we are expecting to arrive in New York, JFK at around 9 o'clock in the morning, date 18 Monday. But due to delay from the Dubai, he arrived late, around 12. And traffic in New York was severe. The bus that's supposed to come and take the members of the communities, leaders, and the SPLM was actually stuck on the traffic. So the bus was not able to pick up the numbers of people. But after he arrived in the hotel, day 19, which is on Tuesday, the meeting was scheduled to meet him at around 2 p.m. Local time, Eastern time in New York, and we were able to go and with the bus that actually pick up the members of the leaders, SPLM leaders, and then the SPLM chapter leaders and the community leaders, and we were able to meet him in hotel. And the meeting was very exciting for all of us because it has been a while for him to visit the United States of America, and the president give a chance to members of community to put their common and statements, and after we give the statements, he was able to brief us, and his focus was about the implementation of RCES agreement, which is actually a lot of progress has been conducted in regarding to implementation. And there is a lot of progress on the agreement, which actually President Kiir was telling us they're still working to implement the other the issue of the deployment of the forces, unified force, and the bill of the election bill, so the election commission can be formed and then the election can proceed and move forward. Also, President briefed us about the election itself, which is vital due to the RCES agreement was to be concluded with election. And he asked the diaspora to play the positive role when the election come. During our experience from the referendum, our participation in referendum was a huge, and we were able to support the South Sudan in the campaign of referendum through the UN, United Nations, by going and protesting by that time. And then when the referendum was organized, many of the diaspora members from the chapters representative, they went home to help for the campaign and awareness about the referendum progress, until we successfully conducted the referendum January 9, and then we achieved the result that we all of us feel proud and create our country. So President was appealing also that the diaspora community and the members of the SPLM still can play a positive role in supporting the process of election in our country. And also he's inviting us that it is a time for you to come back home and participate in economic development, and especially for the recently National Economic Conference came out with recommendation proposing many projects, various projects that actually people in diaspora who are interested in business could go back home and participate in contribution of improving our economy in terms of sustainability, job creation. And I think agriculture would be the one of the interesting many people, including myself. I'm already started that type of projects, and we're encouraging people to go back home and engage in agriculture because it does require a lot of capital to start it. And if many of us can go and start those type of projects in many states, could actually provide the food security at home. President also talk about the security issue, and security issue is relevant into embargo that actually put on South Sudan, which is a big challenge for our country, because there's no way the government can provide security without well-equipped arm, which is the
And the media is off. Yes.
Sorry. The South Sudan armed force need to be equipped in order to deliver their duty in terms of securing the nation. Therefore, he was asking that he's going to talk with the UN members and for the removal of the banning of flow of the small arm into South Sudan in order for the national army or unified force to be equipped and be able to deliver their duties in effective way.
Thank you, Honorable Manon, for the briefing and what your team discussed with the president. Kindly, you mentioned the issue to do with the elections. That's we focus much in regard to the elections, and the president is calling all South Sudanese in the diaspora to come home and help the nations in economic development and also to create jobs in one way or the other. Can you explore more in regard to the elections? According to your statement as representative of South Sudanese in diaspora, after your meeting with the president, you were heard and seen saying that the president, we are calling upon you and the whole South Sudanese government to focus much on elections so that the nation can set a platform for democracy to grow by next year. Honorable Manon, do you believe that the elections will take place next year?
Yes, election could take place because the RCS agreement is very clear that the RCS agreement was a transitional way of transitional government to move the South Sudan from the war era into peaceful era. That's the reason that we have the RCS actually, and move us from the government that many people may perceive it as undemocratic into a democratic government, because now the government that we have is based on the agreement or treaty among the political parties. IOs and OPP and SAWA came along after the war of 2013 and signed that agreements to make a transition government, and that transition government have a lot of package within, including the constitution review and judiciary reforms and financial reforms and security sector reforms, and all these were actually a package that will pave the way into transitional ending. And you know how this government is a huge in terms of 35 ministerial in national government, and you have 5 vice president in the government, and you have 650 members of parliament if you divide the 2 houses. The house of National Legislative Assembly have 550 members, and you have the State Council Assembly with 100. You are talking about 650. If you compare with the population that we have in South Sudan, which is projected to be around 12 million to 15 million, is a huge members of parliaments, and I think is a big expenditure for the government budget, instead of using the money to deliver the services to our community in terms of education, in terms of healthcare, and in terms also of job creation. Because the reason also we have a lot of violence in our country is because young people are not getting access into employment opportunity. Because if they have employment opportunity, there's no reason why they should go after those who are looking actually for power, instead of being focused on their own, developing their own personality, to become a person that have a prosperity in his own life. And this is exactly what we want in our country. We need more job than creating more military job. We need just a job that will make ordinary citizens have a better life and peaceful life for themselves. Therefore, it was our call, after the president briefed us with the challenges that they are facing, that the transitional government have to end it with election, and that's what they stipulated. And we have an extension of the 24 months now going to end in 2024. So how can both parties within the agreement going to come back and ask people of South Sudan for another extension? I think is unfair for our people to continue with this extension, and after extension, it is much better for the people, for the leaders, which actually composing this agreement, to have a political will and move forward. Because the thing that actually that they are talking about to be implemented, I don't think they are difficult to be done. Like deployment of the force, of unified force, constitution review is not something that can be difficult to be done. Forming a election commission. We already seen last Monday they already passed the bill for election bill was passed, even though the IO have some observation about issue of 5% that actually going to be given to veteran and people with a special need and people that are actually may not make it if they go through the constituency. So I believe that the election is the only option left for us, in order for us also as the people of South Sudan to have a view about the government that they can elect and the government that they can be accountable than the government that actually come as a result of the peace agreement. So I'm really optimistic that the election will take place next year, and the leader need to be serious about that. The leader need to cooperate in the agreement, and they have to work together, because in the end of the day, all the leaders of South Sudan on the agreement, they are responsible and they have great responsibility to cooperate and ensure the transitional period ended in a peaceful way through the democratic process, so the people now will elect their leaders and their representatives in different houses. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Manon. There are many voices of South Sudanese that really oppose the issue of elections due to some reasons. Most of them believe that the revitalized peace agreement has not been implemented fully, especially Chapter 2, which is security arrangement, and Chapter 5, that talk about accountability, justice, and so forth. So, and these two chapters are critical according to the agreement. Some other reason they believe that's why the elections should not take place is because they believe that the country has no capacity financially to conduct an election. Seeing elections is a process and it might need a certain huge budget in order to carry out the elections. Third point of which most of the people claim is that we cannot carry out elections without knowing the census, actually the population of South Sudan. We better have census before election. Others believe we should reconstitute the commission, the electoral and boundary commission should be reconstituted, and which the election bill was passed, and indeed it might have articulated on how this commission will be reconstituted. These are some of the few reasons many South Sudanese, or some of them especially, believe that there should be no elections. Others argue or may argue that the reason why the IO does not want to go for an election is simply because they are so pessimistic that they will not win the election. So they want another extension in order to stay in power. Kindly, can you draw the line between the two? Many parliamentarians, they don't want to leave the parliaments. As you mentioned before, that there is a huge government now and a very little economy, less than 1.2 trillion, 1.2 billions actually. And how can they manage all this government, of which most of MPs, over 600 MPs, most of them opposed to the issue of elections because they want to still enjoy the honorable titles and some privileges that come along with being MPs and also addressing meetings in their communities and all those. Kindly, can you distinguish the two? Do you believe that the issue of government is the threat now to our people because the government is too huge to be managed by the small country and the small economy, actually, I mean? Or do you believe that the revitalized peace agreement is not an obstacle to the elections process, nor does census do? Thank you.
Let me take it from the last point. First of all, the RCs, which came with the current national unity government, came as a resolution of the conflict. And the agreement is always temporarily. There's no permanent agreement, when it comes to the political settlement. We have experience and CPA. CPA was actually from 2005 to 2011, to January 9 to end it on July, which is the 6-month interim period before the actual agreement can start it to be implemented. And we have seen even after we depart from Sudan, there are issues called post-referendum issue. There are post-referendum issue, things that are unsettled, but they cannot prevent the main purpose to resolve the problem between Sudan and South Sudanese, based on the CPA agreement. And we have seen a referendum was one of the vital, which actually was conducted, and result came out as South Sudanese choose to succeed from Sudan. But if you look, the border issue until today is unresolved. If you look, the issue of the ABA is unresolved. If you look, the issue of Blue Nile and Nile al-Azraq is unresolved. So you can see there's some major issue that was not resolved in CPA, but the other important element that cannot take people back to violence were actually resolved, which is the referendum, and make South Sudan to succeed. It become Republic of South Sudan from July 9, 2011. The same thing for the RCS agreement. The most important for the RCS agreement is to end the government that people perceive as unelected government, because seeing election of 2010, when Sudan was one country, that is the less election that we had. And seeing we became independent of a country, we're supposed to have 2 elections now. We're supposed to have election in 2015. If we have not had the crisis, a senseless war of 2013, South Sudanese would have been given opportunity to view and go to ballot box to choose their leaders, choose the presidency, choose their members of representative in the upper house and lower house, and choose their governors, and choose their commissioners, and choose their town mayors in different cities in South Sudan. But unfortunately, due to the crisis, South Sudanese was prevented to make their judgment and make their democratic choice. 2020, we're supposed to have another election because the constitution is only 5 years for the presidency. South Sudan now should have a 2 election at the moment now. But due to the crisis in the country, South Sudanese people have not been given opportunity to voice their voices, and they become marginalized due to the violence in the country. And political parties, yes, they are organizations that representing the political system in the country, but they are not the people that can decide on behalf of millions of people of South Sudanese. Millions of people of South Sudanese have voices to decide how this country can be run and who should represent them in different functionality in the government. Therefore, if you look, the budget that we are spending now with the current revitalized national unity government that we have, you see the budget that we spend at the moment is a huge. And if we continue just cycling that we don't have money, this government have to continue. They're still going to spend this money anyway. So the best way is for us to, as a South Sudanese, to accept the challenge and put the pressure on those leaders. Put the pressure on those leaders that the country is belong to us, it's not belong to the parties, SPLM or IO, you name it, is belong to the people of South Sudan. And it is very important that the election will give an opportunity to end this big government that we have and reduce the size of government, and also not only reduce the size of government, bring the government that can be accountable, government that people can go out and ask for the services, government that can people can go and ask their representative in their constituency. You promise on election that you're going to deliver the services, you're going to bring the school, you're going to bring the safe water, you're going to bring the road to us, you're going to create the job. This is very important. Therefore, I think the best option is to put a pressure to end this a huge government that we have that actually become economically burden on our country. That's very important. When it comes to issue of security sector, unified forces, they already progress on that article, and we have seen already the graduation of the forces last year. What is left is redeployment. They deploy those forces into different bases within across South Sudan. And I think the national unity government and the leaders on the agreement, they have capability and responsibility to act on that, to redeploy the unified force and open opportunity for second batch for the training, and then can be graduate before the end of interim period of December upcoming year is very important. Coming to issue of accountability, we all agree that the law have to take its space for the issue of human rights abuses during the crisis of 2013. Everybody agree on that, and I think this accountability could have been even much better and easy if we elected people that can come through our voices, and they will continue to implement whatever is left in the agreement, including the accountability, for those who commit the crime during the 2013. Then those who are in the agreement, because something that we need to understand, those who make agreement and sign it, the parties that are on the agreement, I don't think they will be in a position of allowing the law to come and put them in the jail. But if you elect the new government as the people of South Sudan, you will have an opportunity now to ask the official that you elected to make accountability as a priority number one. Even in the campaign, when they go to campaign, you have to ask them, are they going to be committed to accountability of a crime that was committed in 2013? And then you will assure that you will vote for them, for those candidates, whether in the MPs or whether a governor or whether the presidency. You will make sure that your answer is given and you certify, and then you give your ballots vote, because you know accountability will be taken care of it after the election. The issue of census, there's a lot of form that can be used if we cannot make a census data due to the financial challenges in the country or economic challenges. They have different way they can use. They have different criteria. They can use the census of 2008 census data result. It can be adjusted, and it can be adjusted, and then they can draw the constituency seat around the country, and election can proceed, and we can still do our census data after election. It cannot. I don't think census can prevent the election to proceed. The IO question and other political party who actually see themselves, if they go for this election, there is possibility that they may not make it. I think they have a good reason to be worried about it, because building a political progress and win the election is an investment, is a long investment. And this is the one South Sudanese political parties also need to understand, that you don't go election to win the election. There's some election you choose not to be part of it, because you see, if you evaluate your party, if you go to this election, you may lose. So if you know you may lose, if you know you're going to lose the exam before you go to exam, why are you going to that exam? It is better for you to stop aside and prepare yourself and be ready for the exam that you can win. So I believe that they have a good reason to be worried about it, but at the same time, they have to commit to the agreement. The agreement you cannot make excuses on the agreement. The agreement have to end it. And the only way to end it, you have to go for election. And the election is the one that will end the agreement. So you have the elected government, and it's not a problem. They can lose this current election and they may win the next election. So there's some election that you can win, there's some election you can lose. Even the SPLM, that actually they think that we, as my party, we cannot 100% assure that we will win the election. But we will do whatever is possible in our capacity to campaign, to pursue people of South Sudan that give us a chance, even though we know we have been in power for almost now 18 years, and we did what we could do in our capacity. We have a huge challenges, and if you give us another chance, we will be able to provide what we promised for you to deliver. And it is up to the people of South Sudan. It is absolutely their choice. If they choose other choice or different party to come to the power, I think we are the first people to congratulate people of South Sudan and congratulate the party that will win the election. But refusing to participate in election and applying the game or the tactic delaying is not going to be in the interest of our country. And I think time has come for our people collectively, leaders, to have a political will and make a decision that actually have to be for the interest of the nation and to put the nation above the political party's interests. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ustaz Manon, for your response to those few questions. Now you met the presidents, and you are so much like elections will happen, because this is the only way to redeem the country. But the question is, as the chair of the SPLM National Secretariat, United States of America, and as somebody who is close with a National Secretariat in Juba, including the president himself, because you met him, many citizens ask themselves, if the SPLM is ready for an elections, why do the government deny the first vice president, Dr. Adol Machar, not to campaign, not even to visit the part of South Sudan? And the cycle, many reasons. You have heard from the deputy chair in the parliament last time that the chairman was denied to go to South Africa, yet he was invited to attend a certain function in South Africa. He was also denied not to attend the United Nations General Assembly, and they claim that he was invited by the General Secretary. Kindly, can you highlight what you know, according to the best of your knowledge, to why? Is SPLM still suspicious that if they allow Dr. Machar to campaign, he might outweigh the SPLM, or there is fear of unknown So that's what you need to to clarify. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Actually, the issue of the Dr. Machar, the first vice president of the Republic of South Sudan, it came up time to time to the media whether the Machar is under restriction or is free to move anywhere he want to go in South Sudan. I believe that something that we need to put in our mind as a citizen, there is no way we can have an election that Machar cannot travel to campaign in northern Bahr Ghazal in the Will capital and go to Lake State, the Rumbek capital, go to Bentiu, Unity State capital, go to Malakal, and go to Wau, because it is an election. And if it's an election, people have to be given an opportunity to campaign. And I believe the campaign is not yet started. And even some of people are asking that SPLM already started the campaign. SPLM is not starting a campaign yet. Does not. The word we have seen is a member of the SPLM in region, like region of Bahr Ghazal, region of Upper Nile, region of the Equatoria, are endorsing the leader of the SPLM, which is the Comrade Salva Kiir Mayardit, that is going to be a flag bearer, even though before the national convention of the SPLM. And this is democratic right. It is a democratic right, even though if the IO want to do the similar thing, there's nobody will prevent the IO to organize the regional event in a wheel, northern Bahr Ghazal, or in Warab, or in Lake State capital, Rumbek, or in Wau, and invited their leader, Dr. Riek Machar, in offering endorsement to him that you are going to be a flag bearer for upcoming election. I think it's democratic right. But in the end of the day, the procedures or the legal procedures even within the SPLM is when we draw the congresses across grassroots congresses, start from Buma to Payam to the county to the state congresses, and then end up with SPLM National Convention. SPLM National Convention is the legal frame that going to confirm through the vote within the convention that Comrade Salva Kiir is a flag bearer for upcoming election in 2024. And some members of the SPLM may have interest run within that convention. Some people who may not declare themselves to be interesting for the contesting for the ticket of the presidency. And I think that cannot be perceived as a campaign, that the campaign is started. Campaign will start when we already passed the bill of the election bill. It was passed last Monday. And now the next step is to form the election commission. If the whole parties in agreement cooperate and submit their nominees, because election commission is going to be a composed representation of political parties that are actually representing in the country. It's not necessary to be people that actually affiliate with the political party, but independent people. But all political parties in the country will have a view about verification and ensuring that those who are handling the election commission are truly neutral. They don't affiliate with any political party in the country. So Dr. Riek Machar, I think, recently interviewed with Michael McQuay, Minister of Information, Honorable Michael McQuay. I think he was right when he said that if some people are making assumptions, including myself, that's what I heard. They're saying that IGAD is the one who gives this restriction for Riek Machar. Sometimes they say it's President Kiir who gives restriction. And his answer was clear that if he's IGAD, why IO cannot ask the IGAD so the IGAD can confirm that they are the one who give the restriction to Riek Machar to travel outside to the country or even move to the country to do campaign. But the only truth that I know, there is no way we can do election without Machar campaigning within South Sudan. And absolutely, I know Machar will move around when the campaign is started, will do his campaign, and will participate in election like any other political party in the country. And SPLM also is a political party like another political party will do their campaign. And there's no way we can actually prevent, or government prevent some political parties and allow other political parties to do the campaign. I don't think there's a democracy that will allow that to happen. The issue of New York, Riek Machar was invited to come to New York. I think if that happened, which I don't know it happened, if that happened by the Secretary General of the United Nations, This is what we call double standard, because they cannot do that. We have only one president in the country, and the president of the country is the one that can be invited to attend the United Nations General Assembly, and it is up to the president, as he done it several times, to assign any vice president from 5 of them to come to New York, represent him. But this year, he decided himself to come. He didn't send anybody. So I think it would make sense if they say that they need Machar. Why Machar should not be selected to represent the president in any regional or international occasion. I think that is right. That's their right to ask for that. But asking that 2 application was brought to request President Kiir and Vice President to come to New York, I don't think it's true. It's not true. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Manon. Indeed, it is inappropriate and incorrect to invite the president and the vice president, because the United Nations General Assembly operate and only deal with the head of the state. And President Kiir is the head of our country, government. Thank you so much for that. To our viewers, the person that you have seen that has joined us now is Dun Leng Deng, the chairperson of SPLM chapter New York State, and he will be also to tell us in the last topic that we will tackle now with the chairman Manon Jokaleu, the issue of SPLM activities in the United States of America. Ben Manon, kindly can you tell us, many South Sudanese in diaspora claim that SPLM is in ICU, especially at the diaspora states or diaspora community. They start away from the United States of America, Canada, Australia, and all other countries where South Sudanese are resident in, or residing in, rather. So kindly, can you brief your people? What are the activities? It seems like coming of the president or visit of the president has given you energy in order to reorganize and chart the way forward. And secondly, also, we are moving toward the elections, of which, as a ruling party, you will be required to campaign and recruit, mobilize, sell the agenda of the SPLM to the citizens in the United States. Kindly, can you briefly explain your activities and also give us the reason to why the SPLM has been so dormant and passive for the last few years in the United States of America, yet you are present? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sasmajok. You know, SPLM chapters in United States during the armed struggle contribute a lot. It's contribute a lot financially and public diplomacy, people to people diplomacy. We play a vital role to connect United States of America to become interest in the crisis in Sudan. And I think we have welcomed many visitors and many leaders of the SPLM in the United States of America, and collectively with our communities introduce those leaders to the American representative in different states. And the result of the CPA came as a result of contribution of SPLM chapters and the South Sudanese communities, and Sudanese communities by that time we call it, and the Lost Boy, the Red Army, Lost Boy that came to the United States. It was a big role that we play to introduce our problems and also to introduce who we are until American public become aware about the importance of the crisis in Sudan, and until Danforth was appointed to become a special envoy to Sudan. And that was the result, even with the Massachusetts Protocol Declaration, was a result of consensus, collection, different view from South Sudanese who live in the United States, and their view was accommodated and came out with the positive result of declaration of 2002 agreement that lead us, 2004, I mean, lead us into final settlement of the Massachusetts agreement that signed in 2005. Here, what happened in SPLM is still alive. That's why I'm here. As I said, so those people who are saying that SPLM is in IUC or ICU,
intensive care unit.
Intensive care unit. Those who are saying that the SPLM is in intensive care, actually, if the SPLM was intensive care, I would not be here now in Lake State media for this interview. SPLM is still alive. Yes, we have been affected. We have been affected during the crisis of 2013 in Juba, which is broke the SPLM apart. Because what I realize, and this is what I want to warn our people, especially young people who are interested in politics. If you are interested in politics, please don't be affiliated into political party based on individual. Be independent thinker. Observe yourself. Be loyalty to the party based on principle and objective of the party. It is not because your uncle in this party. It is not because your relative in this party in order for you to be a part of this political party. You are wrong. You are yourself. You are a leader. And that's why you are a part of that political party. You can be a president. You can be any position in the party. Because when it comes to political party, we are all equal as the members of the party. The same privilege that make President Kiir to become a president today is the same privilege that I have as a member of the SPLM. I can contest in any position in the SPLM. So South Sudanese young people need to disassociate themselves by being attached to the party based on their relative or their individual leaders, and etc. etc. I'm saying that because after the 2013, a lot of people within the SPLM chapters defected. Defected because, the members of G10. Member of G10, if you look member of G10, majority of them, those are the people actually has been leading the SPLM during the wartime. And those are the people who has been connected in diaspora. They associate with many members, with many communities, with many activists of the SPLM. And after the crisis of 2013 and they defected from the party, many people follow them. Even though they know they are not effective and they don't have any organization, it's because they are not part of the SPLM. It is a reason for them now to defect. And some of them defected silently without making any political statement that they are defected, and they play a game within the party. And this is the one of the worst. It is better to declare yourself that you are no longer a member of the SPLM than playing the game within the party itself. This is the one of the dangerous things. And I think based on that result, it affects the many activities in the United States of America. You can see people like Comrade Susanna Jambo. He was external secretary of the SPLM. And he have a vital role to play in order for the SPLM chapter in diaspora to become functional and effective. But if you have a hidden agenda, well, he's still hosting the seat in the secretariat. You can see how a damage it can cause for the SPLM, which finally we seen what happened in the end of his in the end he just left the SPLM and he's become against the SPLM, and he has been taking this position for the long period of time. You can see it. So that would affect the SPLM chapter in diaspora. Comrade Adol Machar, which is now external secretary of the SPLM, came to realize when he took over after the Susan Jambo departure from the SPLM, and he tried his best to reconstitute the SPLM chapter in diaspora. And the first chapter that was interested to be constituted is the SPLM in the United States, which I'm leading. And the only way to restructure what is also already been having some difficulty to function, especially after Comrade Ladogobek rebel and joined the NAS movement. And then his deputy became acting as a chairperson after he left. Comrade Adol Machar came to decide that it is better to restructure the SPLM chapter in the United States. And that's where the result of my appointment came in, to restructure the SPLM. It was uneasy. When I came in, I was coming with a huge energy to do my best with my team in order to reorganize and restructure the SPLM chapter in the United States. But unfortunately, due to the COVID-19 is unknown disease that came immediately after our reconstitute and assign for reorganizing the SPLM and restructure the chapter at the state level, do registrations, and then lead them into SPLM convention in the US in order to elect the leader. And I think this assignment, we done what we could do in our capacity. And we have today 15 chapters in the United States who actually registers the members across the state. And we are in the stage of going for the national convention, which we are communicating with Juba headquarters, which is the national secretariat in South Sudan back home. We are communicating with our boss in order for us to go for the national convention. And very soon, we will make a deadline on how we're going to conduct the national convention in the United States after we organize over 15 chapters in the US, and we're still reaching out to organize the other chapters in different states that are not functioning at the moment in order to increase the number of chapters that are functioning across the US. Because when we do our national convention, we are going to be requesting the delegate, and delegate are going to be drawn from those chapters in order for them to come to elect the new leadership within the secretariat. So SPLM is moving forward, as also in South Sudan. We have seen the mass registration is taking place in South Sudan. 4.5 million registered members in South Sudan has been completed successfully, and registration is continuing, and the campaign is still continue to recruit more members. The same thing here with diaspora. We have a committee headed by Secretary of Political Affairs, Comrade Jam, and she did a very good job by communicating with different states and sending the form out for the members to do registration. And we have sent those forms into headquarters in Juba. If those members go to South Sudan now and go to Juba, they will find their name there, because they are official members there, are registered. Because the party members, you have to fill out the form. You cannot say I'm official members while you are not registered member. So from Lagos Studio, I want to encourage and send this message out to all our members in the US that you need to contact Comrade Jam. She lives in Iowa State, or contact the National Secretariat Office to request the form, and we will send out the form to fill out in your state. And if you are not organized, we are willing to coordinate with you until we establish the office in that state, because we are about to go for the national convention in soon. But we are coordinating with our headquarters in Juba, and we will do it in order for us to be prepared for election, because some of us here will go back home to help for the campaign and also help the SPLM to win the upcoming election in 2024. And we cannot be able to do that if we are not organized. So the most important is to organize the grassroots and then move forward before the upcoming election. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Manon, for the answers provided in regard to the issue of the passive endowments of the SPLM. You absolutely agreed that the SPLM, or you actually say that the SPLM is not at ICU. SPLM is actually working and is active, only that it has been moving in a slow pace. That's why, and due to the reasons that you really articulate in regard to the crisis back home. Thank you so much. Before I come back to you, since this is the last topic for us to cover, I will give chance to the chairperson of the SPLM New York chapter, Mr. Dunlake Deng, to give us his opinions. And to take you back last year, December on 18th, Benjamin, you came to New York and you met with the leadership of the SPLM at the state level, and you were talking about the reorganization of the SPLM across the states in the United States. Kindly, you will be asked later on to brief the people on how far you have gone with such reorganization, of which you put out announcement that if you don't have leadership at your state level, then reach out to the National Secretariat, and then we will be in a position to coordinate and facilitate your leadership establishment in your particular states. And on that note, you will also make some comments before we end the show. Mr. Dunlek, kindly activate your mic and give us your thoughts in regard to your state as New York. Seeing you are also in coordination with your chairman, or your chairperson, Manon, during the reception of the president, and many of you from New York actually were in the attendance. Kindly, the chance is yours, and thank you.
Thank you. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you are clear.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Majon Marco, the host of the Lake State Media. And also, I would like to say thank you to Mr. Secretary for U.S., Mr. Manon. He gave a good speech. And I would like to start with my name. My name is Ling Ding. I'm the chairperson of SPLM in New York. I was re-elected, as you just mentioned before, last year in December, when I called Comrade Manon to come with this delegation and join our people here in New York. And we renew our leadership, in which you were witness in Majong Makur in December last year. And haven't complete 1 year. And then in 2025, we will call again for our election, because the term is always 2 years. So when you finish 2 years, you have to call no matter what obstacle are. Yes, for me to start based on the agenda here, I will start my comment with coming of our president to USA, Mr. General Salva Kiir, when he came with his delegations. The time caught us in surprise. We were not ready. We were not aware of the coming of the president. I got a call from the U.S. From our embassy in U.S. with Ambassador Cecilia on Friday morning, and I was on my way to D.C. for some personal mission, and that's when we were communicating. And before then, my Secretary General of SPLM in New York State, Malwala Wag, gave me a call on Tuesday and said that our president looked like he's going to come, but we were not sure about it. So I told Mr. S.G. Malwal to say that let us reach out to our embassy so that we can confirm exactly whether he is coming or not. So I got confirmed from Ambassador Cecilia on Friday morning that the president, yes, indeed, is coming next Sunday. And you can see the time here, the time limit. And I asked her, why is that so short like that? And he said that he didn't get the confirmation from J1 in Juba until Friday morning. That's why he didn't communicate with me or communicate with the U.S. secretarians to make sure that the Mr. President is exactly coming. So I say, okay, so we can do what we can so that we can go and receive our president. So I did a mobilization across the New York for 5 cities to make sure that our president is coming. And there were this question everybody was asking, why is the notice so short? And I say it was so short because I got the message so short too. So and I can't keep it. So we have to let everybody know. And if you can make it, please you can come to New York. And if you cannot make it, nobody will blame you because it was a short notice. I just want to say it clearly here to be in the record. I wish next time for our president to come or any official, we shouldn't be given a week or 2 weeks at least so that we can prepare ourselves, so that we can let our people know there is somebody coming, especially when the president is coming. It is a must for us to receive him, and especially people here in New York. We are the closest state here. so that everybody defend on us. Even the U.S. Secretariat defend on us, because we will not bring people within one day from California or from Arizona. You may bring one person or two people, but that's not what the president needs. The president needs the mass. The president needs everybody. President doesn't need me and Manon only. President need women. President need children. President need all person. You know. So I just want to put it across here clearly to our embassy and to people in Juba if they are listening. It is pivotal. It is important. It is essential for us for you guys to let us know ahead of time, so that we can receive our president with a good number, so that they know this is the president of South Sudan. So this is what I realized, Mr. Majo Marco. The short notice was so short, and you remember people like you and other people, they couldn't make it because it was so short. You know, so I would like Mr. Manon as our leader in the U.S. to make sure that he communicates with DC, to make sure that he communicates with the J1, so that we know things ahead of time. Otherwise, we are going to be the leader who will receive the president. And I don't think that is that SPLM that we need. So that will be my comment. And if you have another question, you may give me. But this is my comment for the coming of our president, who was very, very, very short notice. And people are not really even happy now that because a lot of people want to go. So now for me, I'm under hot fire because people think that I knew before and I didn't want to communicate with people. I hope next time we will get enough time so that we will let our people attend the occasions. And
Thank you.
that's what about the coming of our president. That's my comment. Yeah.
Thank you so much, chairpersons of SPLM New York State, Mr. Dunlake Deng. Indeed, reception of the presidents or any leader is part of PR, public relations. And South Sudan to receive their president in the United States of America, the number of the people that will receive him will actually send a significant message to the government of the United States that this president or this leader is loved by his people. And that's why the turnout is in a huge number. Thank you for that. And I'm happy the chairperson of the SPLM National Secretariat, United States, has noted it. And he's also concerned to him that you were informed at late hours. The notice was so short of only 2 days prior to the coming of the president. He will consider that and he will communicate adequately with the embassy and also the National Secretariat in Juba for the next coming of the president. Lastly, there are those also who claim or actually who believe the president should be coming to sorry for the interruption. I was supposed to go somewhere, that's why. There are people who also request that I received the message here yesterday that if you are going to host the SPLM leaders, kindly tell them to inform their chairperson that it is not necessary for you to send the vice president every time. It is very important for you to come by yourself, meet with other head of state from Africa, meet also with the government of the United States so that you can also do your own network and also request other leaders to support you on sideline meeting like what he did. President met with all the leaders in Africa on that very day, which is so important and very crucial. So that is a message from some of your members here in the United States. Two of them sent me a message yesterday at night to pass this message. I was about to forget about it. Thank you so much. I think after this juncture, I don't have further questions. I will yield it back to the president of Lagos State Media. If there are questions in Clubhouse and also at the comment section, then he will display them on the screen so that you can be in a position to provide them with adequate answers. Thank you so much. I yield it back to you, Isaac. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Majok Makur Malak, and thank you, Manon Jokaleu and Comrade Dun Legdeng. I have two questions in the comment section here, and also I have one person who will give the question at Young Dit. Just hang on. Let me start with the comment section. Bej Kulang I posed a question here direct to Honorable Manon Jokaleu. Saying he was referring during your discussion about the security arrangement, saying that chapter 2, let me put it up here, you read it. He said, chapter 2, security arrangements become an obstacle. What are you people doing to make sure that 50% of it get implemented? Watching from Lake State, headquarters Rumbek. That guy is watching live from Rumbek. That question was directed to you, Honorable. And another guy, this is the press secretary of the governor of Lagos State, Mabur Deng Jr. He's asking, saying here, since His Excellency met a handful of few who were present during his meeting, what was the reaction of all the South Sudanese citizens in New York and America who had wanted to meet the president and hear from him directly? That question is referring to the last speaker regarding the the short notice of the visitation of the president. So these questions, you note them down, and I have another two questions from the clubhouse that I will not display. I will read them because you need to write them down, and you reply them later at once because we are running out of time. From King Stone in clubhouse, asking a question: why did Riek Machar denied for traveling for treatment outside the country? That is his question. From Ustaz Shenkwath Lam, Shenkwath said that Lama called compliance that South Sudan have no freedom of speech and political move. Now, going to Clubhouse, we have General Adiang. Diang Marik is here. He will be asking a question. We'll give you 2 to 3 minutes to ask your questions, and then our guest in the studio will reply them all at once while we are coming to close down. Thank you so much. Comrade Adiang, activate your mic. The floor is yours.
Yes, I was waiting for that because I don't want to grab, mic. Not a good thing. Come up and grab the mic. Thank you. Is it my time?
Yeah, your time to ask your question.
All right. My question is this. Let me go straight to whatever. Okay. Close my mic because when I'm speaking and somebody is speaking is not good. So the chairman of the SPLM National Secretariat, Manon Jokaleu, I know this guy, he knows me very well. So people don't speak in the same time. We are not Somalians. Somali can speak with like 100 people and listen to some. That's why I speak one by one. Thank you. So here we go. Is he chairman of SPLM Secretariat in America? I was there. Even no knows that. You see why I say that? When you form in what is called this Secretariat in America, right here, I'm in America. You form it how and when and where? No. I want to explain. I don't want to spend my time there. No, and about that kind of calamity, you can't find it. I don't know that. How we get it from the ground to up. Zaman Jogan, before it. Gen Salva Kiir, before it. And we are fine now. Manon is my chairman here, yes, of course. But it's not denial. So here we go. Okay, let us go to the point. I don't want to go beat around the bush. Ladies and gentlemen, Mother Taylor, I'm the man. I cannot go around the bush. Here I'm the one of the people who formed this. People now grab it and take it away. Okay, I am the man who was down there. Down there, where? You know that. So I came down there, I came here from this. You see, Sabida, Al-Kadiga ambassador, and all that. My own can hear him. Can
General Adam, can you go to the question straight, please?
No. I'm going to National Secretariat. I'm going straight. You see, Adam has all been around the bush. I told you already. So I don't be around. Manon Jokaleu die. Let him be a chairman. So what? I don't need no chairman. Stop. So here we go. I don't listen to SPLM. I cannot rebel and I will not rebel. Mark my word. Why? Because I stand right there. I don't need no chairmanship. I don't need to be president. I don't need to go to rebel. Yeah, you guys scared myself. You see? Ajama lazim out of the person. People know themselves how we stand. My stand is clear. So here we go. SPLM stand is the same way it stand. When chairman of SPLM say this, or here in the United States, or there in Juba, I will stand behind him. Here, is it wrong or right? Are we clear now? Yes. So I'm not saying that I'm really, SPLM girls, my girls, much about that. You see? They will say what they say. And then what they said, I'm still saying, excuse myself. Here we go. Okay, election fee, election market, it's not my point. My point is this. As SPLM Secretariat in the United States, that's what I'm going to conclude. I'm not going to consume your time. Really very good. You see, take your time. My time is this. I see something wrong here. And then when I try to say something, people get anxious and something. I'm good at you see, I'm talking to Manon as my leader here in the United States of America. Look, I said, I'm saying, remember school, including me too. Do you know that who's a member? Members. Do you know who's the leaders? You don't know yet. So, I don't know good students. The good Sultan will have the either, whoever it is, leader of either. You don't know me? Yeah. No. I'm actually here. No, I'm concluded.
We are
I'm
confusing
finished.
here
I'm
whether
finished.
introduction or you are asking a question or you are explaining something.
I'm asking my leader. I'm not asking you.
Yes, you just
No.
go direct. He's
I'm
with a
asking my
pen in
leader.
his hand. You need to write down your question so that he respond to you. But now you went far.
Yeah, let him write down. My brother, let him write down. Why you come and interrupt me? My minute is not finished. You let him write down. It is not your question.
He didn't get a point to write
Let him
it
write
down.
down.
That's why I'm asking you, bring the point to be noted down.
Okay, I am a member of SPLM too. Okay, let him write down. Write down too, you. So I'm a member, I'm a general of Canadian. Go here and write Wilfam. Okay, I am a member of SPLM. Write it down. Is that what you want? Is that all? You guys don't get people annoyed. So here, he knows me. I know him. I met him in a meeting of SPLM. SPLM here in the United States. Is it a joke? Are we joking here now? Are you serious? So who don't know who? You see, who knows who?
Okay. Okay, hang on. Yes, I will stop you here. General I will stop you here. I'm stopping you. Just wait. Let me say this. Wait. Mute yourself. I'm sorry to do this because this is a live show in the public, and I don't need to embarrass to embarrass.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
So please,
thank you.
Thank you. For 5 minutes now. You didn't raise any question or anything, and we didn't pick up what you wanted to say exactly for 5 minutes. So we will move on with the rest. Thank you.
I said thank you.
Let them respond. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
To the studio.
Yeah, thank you, President, for that. And I think we'll start with the Dun Lake. to answer the question from Bordeng Jr., the press secretary in the office of president, is asking about the reactions of the citizens of New York State in particular, and by extensions, the United States of America, South Sudanese, in the reception of the president, and how do they view it? And once somebody asks such a questions, it contains a lot of insightful information. They really need to know, because diaspora has becoming a hub for opposition. So once the president comes, so they expect two reactions. There are those who will criticize his visit, and there are those who will appreciate it. But the most significant thing is the number. If the number of those who appreciate the visit of the president or coming of the president to the United States General Assembly is more significant to them, then it will outweigh the number that might criticize his attendance of General Assembly of the United States. So the chance is yours. Duden Lake, the chairperson of SPLM in New York State. Then we will move to the chairperson of National Secretariat, USA, Manon Jokaleu. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Host, Majo Makur. Actually, this was a question that I was expecting. And I'm so happy that I got those questions today. That's what I have been dealing with it from day one. That the citizen were aware before us at the national secretariat or in the New York State level. The citizens were aware of us that for the coming of president before us. And what I realized from there, they were so exciting, they were so happy. But the problem, when I informed them in the last minute on Friday, that was not a good message for them. They were mad, they were not happy that I give them a short notice. But I couldn't do anything when I was getting a local call that our president was coming. I didn't know that he was going to come until I get a call from the ambassador on Friday. I couldn't call a meeting in the New York level because what am I going to say? You have to have the full information to call people in New York State and deliver the concrete message that Mr. President is coming on this day and is going to go back to South Sudan on this day. And here is what we are going to do during his stay in New York. But if I didn't have that, I couldn't be able to call a meeting. But I was getting some private call that Mr. President is coming and you are quiet. And I said, no, I didn't know. And if it's going to come, we will get a message from the embassy. And if it's going to come, we will get a message from Mr. Manon Jokaleu in the US level. And none of these people called me until Friday. So actually, I got a call from Ambassador Cecilia on Friday afternoon. You know, and I have to inform Mr. Manon, are you aware of this? And he said yes, but I don't have even the full information too. So here is the feeling. The feeling was a mixed feeling. It was a happy feeling, and also people were not happy because they know that they are not going to attend. And that was the one I said before. I don't like something to happen like this next time because it put us into like a better wrong position with our members because they think that we hide information, even though we were not aware of it. So the answer will be in short. It was a mixed feeling, and what I detect, people were not happy. Let me be very honest here. Our people were not happy in New York. They were not happy across the U.S. because the short notice really was not a good message for them. And I know, if I get opportunity like today, I want to make it clear to Mr. Manon and to the U.S., to our embassy in U.S. Next time, please, we need more time so that our people will be able to enjoy, meet their president or any official person coming from the South Sudan. We need to give our people time to prepare themselves. And that also, to give you an extension message, even now, I'm getting some questions. I'm getting some call. Is this how you are going to do the election? Is this how you are going to do the election? You are going to keep it? And then when it comes to the last minute, is that how you are going to do it, Mr. Chairman? And I say, no, we will have a new way to do it. And I just want to deliver a message now to Mr. Manon to be prepared that our people are even looking for answers now for election. And we have to be very ready as a SPLM party, as a mother party. We have to do the right thing before our people feel unhappy about that. So my approach with this, I would like our election, the next year coming election, I would like our election to be like our referendum. Our referendum were organized well, every citizen were involved, and you can see the jubilation. Women were singing, people were dancing, every state. So if we can do this election like that, that will be really very good. That would be my request to the U.S. Secretariat at the U.S. level. I know across the U.S., all our chapters are not well organized, and it's not because I'm unknown. Like what I did last year in New York, I was the one who was pushing to do my re-election, or they have to reappoint me. It was my work to call my people in New York and say, hey, my term is over. I need an election to be done. Whether I will come or another person is coming. Like you, Mr. Majoma Kuri, were my witness, you were in the meeting. I didn't want to stay with the chair. You have to call people if you whether you like it or not. You have to let the people of the state choose their leader. But don't just sit because Manon is going to call you. Manon is a single person. But Manon didn't force me to go for election here. It was me who organized it, invited Manon with his office, and come and witness it. I expect every state to do that. Organize yourself and invite the U.S. secretariats, Mr. Manon, and even if Mr. Manon is not going, just do your election and submit the result to the Manon office. Manon is not going to deny that. Manon is not the one who elect the people in each state. It's our job to do our election in each state level and just submit the result to the U.S. secretariats. So yes, the feeling was not good based on my own information. People were not happy. That's the overall. But they are even asking now, please don't do election like that. They need to be involved ahead of time. And I don't even have answers now. They say, is the election going to be done within South Sudan, or every South Sudanese is going to be given opportunity outside South Sudan? I don't even have an answer for now. So that will be my message, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Ben Dutlek, the New York SPLM chairperson. Indeed, South Sudanese sometimes they ask very naive questions, and at some point, you may find there is a hidden agenda within that question. Election is a very huge event, of which it cannot be like the coming of the president, of course. And the U.S. here is a base of many oppositions and many South Sudanese, like Australia and also Canada. So thank you for making your call very clear to all your colleagues from other states to organize their leadership in order to look forward for the national conventions of the U.S. Secretariat, of which the chairperson Manon alluded to before. The issue of whether South Sudanese in diaspora will be given a chance to cast their votes in their particular embassies. I think it will maybe Ben Manon will give us information if he has such answers to provide. And as time goes by, the debate is now whether we'll have elections or not. And if election will be there, then the leadership will consider their people outside South Sudan. But there is one thing here you need to make it clear, crystal clear to our viewers. Bandut, you said the reaction was mixed. People were happy that the president, for the first time since 2012, when he attended the United Nations General Assembly, almost 10 years before he comes even to US, and they heard that the president will be coming to attend the General Assembly of the United Nations. Were they unhappy because the president is coming, or they were unhappy because the president is coming and they were not informed in advance to receive their president. So you need to distinguish those two, because people may take you out of contact. And that is the political term many South Sudanese normally use, that don't take me out of contact. So they may think that people were not happy with the president coming. But you need to make it clear. Is it because they were sad that they were not informing on time to attend and receive their president according to their wish? Or is it because they were not happy with the president coming to the United States? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That's a very good question. Let me make it clear here. The people were so happy that the president is going to visit them after 10 years or 8 years. Our president haven't come to the UN, and they were expecting our president to be in the UN. Our South Sudanese don't like for president to send the vice president, because our president have vice president. They don't like that. They like our head of state to be the one who will go for big function like United Nations, African Union. It should be his duty to represent us and deliver our message. So yes, they were so exciting. They were so happy that they are going to see him. But we informed them in the last minute. We really make them we make them unhappy. So it was an organized. They were not happy with organization, but they were happy with coming of our president. That's the difference here. And I will stop here.
Thank you so much for that clarification, and you made it crystal clear. To those who are listening, that is the information, and that is adequate answer to my Bordeng Junior questions. We move to the chairperson of National Secretariat, United States, Honorable Manon Jokaleu. You have two questions. The first question was the issue of Chapter 2 of Revitalized Peace Agreement, that most of it has not yet been implemented. What are you doing? Actually, the question is from Bech Kulang, who is watching us from Lake State, headquarters Rumbek. That what are you doing as a ruling party and as the mother party, as many people refer you to as SPLM, to implement at least 50% of that chapter in order to allow the nation to transit from the transition government to the democratic government, whereby people will choose their representative to represent them in the parliament. Because many people believe the MPs in the parliament now are representative of their parties and the agreement, of which Honorable Michael McQueen has called them adequately, that they are not representing the people. Kindly, can you briefly answer that question? Another question is the issue of Dr. Yak being actually restricted, not even to travel across the country, South Sudan, leave alone the neighboring state or other countries across the globe. Thank you, Honorable Manon. The chance is yours. Then I will yield it back to the President of Lake State Media. Thanks.
Thank you again, Chair of the Lake State, Ustaz Isaacs, and Ustaz Majok, and Comrade Dudlake, the chairman of the SPLM New York State chapter. First of all, I just want to add my view to answer of the Dudlake regarding the recent visit by the president. Yes, as I said it early, the node was too short. The environment in the United States is not environment situation in South Sudan. Because South Sudan, you can announce in evening hours, you can send out the microphones with the vehicles just to pass the message out to the public that tomorrow we have a rally in Awul Freedom Square or Rumbek Freedom Square or Warab Freedom Square, and people will turn out massively. In the U.S. is a continent. Is a continent. You cannot pass information within 372 hours, where those people, they're going to involve excusing from their workplace to take day off, and they're also going to arrange the vehicle to travel, like in case of New York State, because New York State is more close to New York City, which is the headquarters of the UN, and we're expecting a big number of turnout to come from New York State due to using mobility vehicle to go to New York to meet the president. And the rest of the state, they have no other tool of getting to New York to attend the meeting than taking the flight. And taking the flight is also involved buying the tickets, and buying the ticket in very short note also did cost the highly money. And mostly also the work will not give you the excuse if you just announce within 48 hours or 72 hours that you need to take off from the work. You may be in a situation losing job or going to that meeting, you know. And I think we hope in the future our embassy, our mission in New York, and our embassy in Washington, and then headquarters also in Juba, which is the J1 also, to make a proper communication in an early time manner with the leaders within the SPLM and the rest of South Sudanese leaders, in order to prepare in a better way so the president can be received in a good number, and people will be satisfied with receiving their president. And I think we have passed that message to a president in our meeting, in his briefing with us in day 19, that we just don't want him to come to the United States only for the UN Assembly meeting. We want him to come to the United States in private visit into Washington, and then we'll have an opportunity to travel around the United States, where the better occasion can be organized in different regions, because we have Northeast and Midwest and East Coast and South regions. All those regions, he may not be able to travel all these regions, but we can choose the middle region. Like most of the time we do our event in Midwest, especially in Kansas City, which is as combining many states that are close in terms of distance by traveling by road. So we hope that they take that note in the future. There will be a proper plan. And I agree with him that people were expecting to turn out with a big number, like what happened in 2017, when people turned out with a big number and a proper plan was done. That's what really people expecting to happen. But we passed that message, and we hope in the future, if the president going to have an visiting United States, it will be done ahead of time, and adequate time will be given for us. Coming to the question that was asked regarding the implementation of the RCS agreement, there is something our people need to understand. The implementing the agreements is a responsibility of the leaders within the agreement themselves. And I see in all the time, it view like the SPLM led government, or SPLM being part of national unity government, because the government is not an SPLM government like before the RCS. Before the RCS, the government was 100% SPLM led government by that time. But after the RCS, it's become a national unity government, transitional national unity government. It means that the OPP and SAWA and the IO, they are part of the agreement, and they have the same shared responsibility of the leader of South Sudan. So the challenges that are facing the implementation agreement does not lie on my party alone, which is the SPLM. The IO also share the portion of responsibility as a leader to that agreement, because the agreement is what Dr. Jones said it in early CPA. If all of us can refresh our back a little bit, when he was asked about some of article in the agreement, and he said the devil is in the detail. The devil in the detail, and the devil in detail. That's why we still have a BA. A BA case is not addressed until now. We still have a border between us and Sudan is not addressed. We still have Blue Nile. We still have Nile Azraq. But does not mean the CPA was not implemented. CPA, some provisional, some important element, fundamental thing are implemented. That's why South Sudan is becoming a Republic of South Sudan. Otherwise, we would have been having a violent continuity between in Sudan until today. But due to the implementing the provisional part of CPA, that's why South Sudan is independent. Therefore, to Comrade that asked the question that can you guys implement the 50%? I think it's a question to the parties. Can the parties do effort? Can the parties to the agreement have a political will to implement agreement in a letter of spirit and in spirit? 100% implementation, not even 50%. Because in the end, there is a shared responsibility. It's a shared responsibility for the leaders on the agreement to ensure that the agreement is implemented in a literal spirit. And how they do that is give and take. They have to compromise in the way that they collaborate. Because before the war, they were warring parties. But after the agreement, they become one body. And they become one body, they become aligned in relevant to the implementation of the agreement. They have to build a trust among themselves to become friendly instead of being hostile to one another. Building a trust is what actually meant for transitional period, because we were in the war. Now we are building a trust. We are not just implementing the agreement, but we are building a trust among ourselves and see the interests of our country above our differences before we sign the agreement. So I believe that leaders have responsibility, not on SPLM alone. Like, for example, the issue that delayed the security arrangement is a part of what? Lack of the arm to equip the unified force with arm. And if you go deeply and ask why there's no arm over there, it's because most of the IO members that came to the train, they come with a hand-to-hand. There's no gun, and you cannot expect somebody that was a military in the form of army fighting, taking some cities over, like exchange or happened during the wartime. Malakal was taken by the South Sudan Defense Force and was taken also by IO. Benti, the same thing. Jungle also. So if you have a power of exchanging, that means you are well equipped and you are well armed. So if you come with the empty hand and just report to the training camp without weapons, what that mean? What that mean for the IO? What that mean for the regular citizen on the street? If the IO organized force just are reporting themselves to the training camp without weapons, where is their weapons? Is their weapon disappear in the jungle? I don't think so. So those are the sensitive thing that sometimes people don't go deeply. For example, when you have more officer than the army, regular arm, because we know in the composition of army is go by quota. It's go by quota. You cannot. There's no way you can have officers more than the regular force. Those are the things that actually are obstacle, make the prolong the deployment and prolong the issue of deployment of unified force. And I hope the leaders will have a political will. When I say political will, is both leaders, all leaders in the agreement, and have a faith for what they are implementing, and expedite the implementation of the agreement 100%, not even 50%, in order for the South Sudanese to have a peaceful and coexistent and move our country forward. The issue of the question that he asked regarding the Toriak, why the Toriak has not been allowed to go to get a treatment outside the country, I think I answered that early. That in a government system setting, you take excuse from your boss. We know that. If President Kiir, any minister in the government, will not travel outside without requesting from the President Kiir, Minister of National Unity Government. Governors that are actually direct report to the president, they cannot leave the country without excuse requesting approval from the president. These also apply for the vice president under presidency. They have to request that type of request. But all along, we haven't seen any evidence. We've seen, yes, IO came out a couple of weeks ago or last week and expressed their view openly that they are not being given their chairman or their Dr. Riek Machar have not been given opportunity to travel outside the country. But we haven't seen any evidence, any requests, official requests sent to the G1 for the going out for the medical treatment, or any request attached with medical. Because if you are going out for medical treatment, you should have your doctors also issue the statement being attached with that application that showing that you are sick and your treatment cannot be done in South Sudan. It have to be done outside the country. And I don't think with the ground humanity, somebody would be denied to go out to get the treatment if that is the case. So I don't think there is any rejection of that part of requests for the humanity ground based on medical for someone need to travel to go to get the treatment. So I hope that is not the case. And the most importantly, let us support our leaders and let us encourage our leader to build a trust among themselves, because South Sudan is the South Sudan that belongs to all of us. There's no other country that actually we have than South Sudan. And those leaders are there to serve the interests of the nation until their time come to leave. And then the new leaders will come and arise and take over our country. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Manon. Before we dive in to our last short of conclusion to close the show, I have one question coming from Clubhouse from Tongjang. Gerald Tongjang has a question to us, and after his question is where we'll give you your final remarks. Tongjang, you can open your mic and you ask your question, please, if you are there. Thank you.
Thank you, my cousin Rock and Makur Majuk and Secretary Chapter of SPLM in New York, Manon Jokaleu. My question here, I draw it from what Manon Jokaleu said earlier, that in the crisis of 2013, a lot of people defected from United States chapters. And when people were defected, I think we can still see the symptom of these people. In 2013, people defected by the tribe diversity. And now people who are appointees after people defected is a tribalism. Let me not deny this. When President Kiir come, you can see the faces and we were watching it. The diversity of South Sudan, like when John Garang used to come, it was welcomed by all tribe. I don't see this in a welcoming of President Kiir, and welcoming of President Kiir look very secret, because if it was announced earlier, there might be a protest to counter him. Secretary Manon is very, very hostile. Can you say when President Kiir come, why you guys announced in the last minute? Because if you guys make it earlier, there might be a protest against President Kiir. Diversity disappear when President Kiir come. You can see people were just speaking in one language. Most people are Denkas. So defection of 2013, is that a secret why you guys have President Kiir just come in last minute, or what? Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Tongjang. That's all from the Clubhouse. Comrade Manon, you can answer that question, and we will be concluding our show here.
Thank you, Sas Tongjang, one of the veterans of the SPLM, SPLA, war veterans. Your question is asking why we announced the coming of the president in the last minute. I think, as I stated early, we still have a support ground in the United States when it comes to the SPLM party. Yes, we do have defections after the incident of 2013, and we still hold the ground. We have members that are representing the SPLM, and honestly, as I stated, and one of my colleagues also, Dudley from New York State, which is the leader of chapter, which actually we were expecting the high turnout to come from New York State due to being close to New York City. You know, the announcement came to us within 72 hours, including myself. Let us be honest, because there is rumors circulated, as you know, as a South Sudanese, but in official business contact, you cannot depend on rumors. You know, I think President Kiir coming to United States has been announced almost 2 to 3 weeks, going out unofficial. People are talking about it, that president is coming. But for us, We have to receive it official notes. We have to receive official note in order for us to consider the coming of the president. And believe me or not, if we receive the information a period of 2 weeks officially, we will mobilize our people without even fearing from so-called opposition that will turn out for protests. Because they can turn out protests, whatever the number they can turn out, but they're not going to out our numbers. They're not going to out numbers. Because we've seen how many times opposition in the US here went out to protest in UN, and we've seen only turn out the 10 people only. That's what we've seen, and we can count them by name, you know. So we have no fear, actually, regarding the opposition turning out with the coming of the president. We have no fear for it. New York State alone, which I live in New York State with Dude Lake together. I live in Buffalo, New York. New York State alone, if we just said me and Dude Lake, just let us forget about America. Let us just focus on New York State. You will see the good turnout will be look alike. It will overnumber the opposition that can turn out to hang around with their sign on the street that are protesting. So there is no secret that actually we put it on this case for regarding of the visit of president. People want to come out with big numbers, and that's why people are not happy that they did not receive adequate time in order for them to prepare themselves to receive the president. And this is exactly what happened. The issue of tribalism that you are claiming it, SPLM is the party for the whole South Sudanese. And until now, is the party that's leading at the nationwide back home. You can imagine if the SPLM is registered 4.5 million members. You subtract it from the projection of the South Sudan population, less census. You will see that the SPLM is a majority when it comes to the membership in the party. For those who are interested to fill out the form and get an ID. If we can be able to mobilize 4.5 million in the country before the election, it's showing how the result will be look alike. And those 4.5 million, they are not from one ethnic group. They are not from one ethnic group. The tribalism in Clubhouse or in social media, I think if there's any group that actually promote and encourage tribalism in South Sudan, and is an opposition themselves, because lack of the clarity of agenda and vision for opposition turned them to talk about tribe, turned them not to differentiate between a community and political work, because political work is not easy work. It's the art of politics. You have to design it well, and if you don't have it, then you better quit it. And this is exactly what we've seen in our opposition. And sometimes we ask ourselves whether في معارضة say ولا ما في معارضة. And when we say there's no معارضة, if the معارضة can speak, those who are, some of them even are leaders, leading some organization in opposition. But when they talk like a regular citizen on the street. You know, they don't differentiate between a citizen on the street and being a leader for political organization. And to conclude that your answer, Comrade Tongjang, this question was raised in one of the lady raised it to the president in our briefing meeting in New York on Tuesday 19, September 19. And you know what President Kiir answered for this question? President Kiir made it clear that we heard about tribalism from you folks in the diaspora. That's what President Kiir said. We heard from you folks in the diaspora in the social media. So it's become a business of Clubhouse and the social media. But if you go in reality in Juba, I don't know what is the last time you visit Juba, Comrade Tongjang. If you go to Juba and you talk about tribalism, people are going to laugh on you, because Junubin are Junubin, and they do business together, and they live in the same neighborhood, and they go to the same school, and they share the same market. There's no space for tribalism in South Sudan. Thank you.
Let me add this small thing. Look, that's one thing you said earlier, that time was. I'm not saying anything wrong to him, but there's one thing missing here. It's important for the country. Suggestion, so we can throw it there. Next time President Kiir come, you Secretariat here, success of President Kiir is you. If you work with open heart, no secrecy, Yongarang, when he used to come here, they tell these people, because that's his best last boy, to reach them everywhere. And when he come with some people like Namiel Dengnial, Apernal, Nagwani, to cover others area while doing his business in the heart of Washington and New York. Why this method affected, mobilized all South Sudan churches, organization, refugee. Why President Kiir Yongarang used to cover up everywhere. Now, when you go to California, not wherever, not the ethnic diversity of South Sudan, they go everywhere, not everybody. Why this President Kiir can doing it right now to fill the gap of defection that time you admitted in your own was based on tribal in 2013. So when President Kiir why cannot do what Garang used to doing, to bring in a lot of people, like in a Lake State, bring someone from Lake State, someone from a wool. Garang used to do it all across diversity. Everybody gonna talk with their own. Why President Kiir don't do this so he can reconcile people and symptom of that people together? Because gap is getting way wider and wider, and opposition will capitalize in that. Thank you. It's not a question, it's a suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate the last comment that you put, Comrade Tongjang. And you talk like you were even part of our meeting that we had with the president, like you are in the same room with the president. We raised that question up to the president, that there's a need, because of after 2013, war broke out, and our social fabric in the United States and elsewhere is not the same as it used to be. And there is urgent need for our government back home, national unity government, which I appeal not only for the SPLM, I'm appealing to the whole members of national unity government, that there's urgent need before the election to delegation together across our all regions, traditional region, whether in Equatoria region or Barakazar or Upper Nile, and send that delegation to come to diaspora with the mission of bringing our community together and reorganize ourselves in diaspora, not only for the South Sudan as a community, but also for ourselves here, for our social fabric. We have other challenge here in diaspora. The issue of the family broke apart, social issue. The issue of bringing South Sudanese together and advocate for the interests of our community, because United States is a community, is a society of the communities. If you are not organized, you will be a victim of the laws. You will be a victim of bad thing that is happening within the society of the United States. So there's an urgent need. I do agree with you 100% that there's urgent need for our government in national unity, not an SPLM or IO or OPP or SAWA, but the government of the people of South Sudan to come with an appeal of restructure and helping South Sudanese to come together and reconcile and form the communities that could focus in their affair within the United States, so they can become more productive and more effective in social gathering or social setting within the US. So I 100% agree with you with your last comments, and hopefully President take that note, and then we will continue to follow up with the embassy in Washington and the mission in New York in order for them to form that type of committee and come down here to the United States and go to Canada and even to Australia to hold rallies and bring our community together with social fabric that is broke to be tied back again. And thank you so much for that comment. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Nasib Tongjang. It has been a while without hearing from you. I salute you there in Clubhouse, and I always appreciate the participation of South Sudanese in Clubhouse. You are always active to discuss the affairs of our country, despite the busy schedule of the Western world, South Sudanese in diaspora, rather. To our viewer, thank you so much for staying up to this almost 2 hours, listening also and asking some few questions to our viewers in the regard to the SPLM activities and the recent visit of the president in the United States. I'll give closing remark to our two guests, at least 2 minutes before we end our show, and it is our duty to do so. I always ask these questions to our viewers, both in Clubhouse and on Facebook, YouTube. Kindly, if you have an idea on how we can shape Lagos State media, then kindly we will never hesitate to welcome your idea, share it with us, and we will appreciate you wholeheartedly. Thank you so much. Let me give chance to Dunlake to give us his closing remark. And your closing remark should be on two aspects, and I know you know that. Your message to the SPLM Secretariat in Juba, and your message to the members of SPLM in the United States of America, and most especially in New York, where you are a chairperson in. And one of them was the suggestion given by Tongjang, and it was echoed very well by the chairperson, Manon, in regard to the committee being formed in Juba, constituted to come and conduct rallies in order to bring people back together. The chance is yours, Chairman Dunlake, within 2 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Majoma Kaur, the host of Lake Media, and I would like to say thank you to the Lake State Media leadership in general. My message will be to the Juba, SPLM Secretariat, to be open with us and keep a consistent communication with our Secretariat in the US, so that we can work together and be able to correct some of our mistakes here or even back at home. I know that SPLM is bigger than any tribe, has not been a tribe party, has been always a South Sudanese party. And that's why we don't shy away for any criticism. We are capable to reply to any criticism, and we know that that's why we don't talk about tribe. We talk about national issues, but we don't talk about tribe. We don't talk about personal issues here. So my message to our SPLM US Secretariat, but SPLM Secretariat in Juba, to be open, keep consistent communication with the diaspora general, US, Canada, anywhere where SPLM is, they have to keep communication clear. My message to the SPLM members in New York and across the US, my message is that we already heard your concerns. Your concerns are in our table, and we will correct them as soon as possible. And if there is any obstacle that we will not be able to correct, it's not because that we didn't realize it's a mistake. It will be because we were not able to correct it, and we will not deny it. If it is something that we cannot do, we cannot be able to do, we will let you know clearly that this is beyond our capacity. But anything under our capacity, in the US level, in the New York level, we will be willing to correct that. Our goal here is for us to be happy. Every member in the US, which is a SPLM member, we need him or her to enjoy her rights, her duties, and no anybody will be denied. And third of it, which is my final answer, any question is open. Like when I was talking here, I didn't hide any question, whether it's a bad question or a good question. I was open here. And the same thing with our US Secretariat, Manon. We are ready to let any concern. We can let people know. I can let Manon know, and Manon will let the Juba know. Here are our challenges, and we can be able to correct them. And we will unite. We will make sure that the upcoming election will be fair and civil, and everybody will be comfortable. Whether you are opposition or you are SPLM, you have a right in election to be heard. You have your right to be heard, no matter what way you are. As long as you are a South Sudanese, you have to enjoy your right as a South Sudanese. And that will be my message, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Chairperson Dunlake, SPLM, New York State. The chance is yours, Chairperson of SPLM National Secretariat, USA, Honorable Manon Jokaleu.
Thank you again. It's my pleasure to host me here in the Lake State Media. Ustaz Majong Makur and Ustaz Isaac, chairman of the Lake Media. And also my thanks to those who are viewers on the social media globally, and as well as those who joined the clubhouse within the 2 hours that we spent in this interview. And my message to the whole South Sudanese at home as abroad: South Sudan is our country, and nobody will come from somewhere to make South Sudan like America, like British, like Canada or like Australia. It is we South Sudanese who have to believe that after a long struggle and from generation to generation, finally, our call has been answered and have a nation. And having a nation came with responsibility. And this responsibility is lie on us as a good citizens, as a nation that we want to be seen globally, succeed and progress. And we don't want to be seen as violent people. Global came together and support us because they see on us hope and aspiration of making difference within Africa in the world. And then I think we have a skill and resource that we can compete globally. The recently activities from basketball and modelings globally, we see in how our young ladies are playing a vital roles to show the South Sudan on the map of the world. Those are good progress. We have seen also the basketball in a global arena is showing a beauty part of that the world can benefit from South Sudan. So I think what we need is to set our house into order in terms of politically, because resolving the political issue will pave the way to sustainability and progress in terms of economics and rebuild our nation. We can take example as a diaspora from Jewish state. Jewish state was a nation created by diaspora community. And there are many, many, many countries that actually diaspora did contribute economically and sustainability and progress of those nations. South Sudan is blasting with resources and opportunities. And I believe we should advocate for peaceful coexistence as a nation, as we have fought the army struggle together as a people, as one nation, as one people. This is very important. Election is so important because the arses have to end with election. And if we have a government from 2005, which we had election for in all Sudan in 2010, and now we are talking about 2023, we are going 2024, is a long time of government running without people consent. And when we say people consent, is people to put their view, because the old view we heard see in 2005 until today, our view of politician, our view of political organization. But our ordinary citizen, our people in back home, citizen who contribute during the wartime, contribute financially, contribute in terms of humanity, send their kids to join the SPLM, even as a national duty during the wartime. They have not been given opportunity. Those who went out in January 9 and put their vote into ballot box are so important to be given an opportunity to select their representative at the state level and at a national level. And transitional period have to end peacefully by going into a ballot box that we all of us have to accept the result. And we have to acknowledge that it have to be credible, it have to be fair and free. And media have to be given freedom also to open a space for the other political party who are protesting or complaining that they are not being given adequate space so they can also express. I think my party in the SPLM, if we believe in justice and equality for all, I think, and we believe in multi-political parties, I think we have no reason why we should fear from anybody. We are ready. Either our people give us a mandate that is clean and honor by the ballot box, or our people have to choose a different direction, and we have nothing actually to against our people in their decision making. For the IO, as we share the responsibility in national unity government equally, we have great responsibility to act in a way that cooperate and collaborate in the way that we implement the agreement together. So the people of South Sudan who give a trust to the leadership of ARCIS can give us another trust through the ballot box, not through the arrangement of extension or arrangement of another treaty in order for the government to continue without permission from the people of South Sudan. My wishes is to see 2024, 2025, South Sudan is peaceful South Sudan, a South Sudan that have a new parliament that is elected, a South Sudan that have a new governors that are elected, a South Sudan that his people are proud to account their commissioner, to account their governor. And if their governor cannot do well, they have a right to vote him out before even the end of the term that he was elected. If the governor violates the rule and the law, the parliament at the state assembly will have an opportunity to impeach that governor, and a new governor have to be put in through the ballot box. This is very, very important. We have to respect the law. There's nobody above the law, including the president. And if we respect the law as a people of South Sudan, and we respect the regulation that governing us, I believe we can build a peaceful nation for our country. For those our member here in the United States in diaspora, please, time has come. If you are a member of the SPLM in America, we already have a committee under a Secretary of Political Affairs. Membership of the SPLM is renewable when you fill the form out and put your commitment as a member. But being a member without filling the form in the state and being reporting yourself as a member of the SPLM, we will not know you that you are a member of the SPLM, because South Sudan have a different political parties, and all political parties, they have their own guideline, they have their own process, how the membership are being recruited, how the membership are being accepted within the party. And SPLM is opening to all South Sudanese across the line to join as membership. We are looking the way forward to organize at the state level and move forward so we can conduct our national convention, so we can be able to elect a new leadership that can lead the SPLM Secretariat in the United States of America, and preparing ourselves for upcoming election back home, so we can contribute equally like the way we contribute during the referendum in the country. And finally, my message to national unity government, we want our government back home to consider a team that actually need to be composed of our three regions, people with respect, people with knowledge, to come to visit the United States and Canada and Australia with the mission of bringing our community together with the social fabric that is broke apart due to the political crisis in the country. We need that mission to be supported by our national unity government, equally with our national secretariat in Juba. Need also to empower our boss, Comrade Bol Makwang. I am greeting him from here. He is doing the best. He's doing his best to restructure the SPLM in diaspora and to put the SPLM in order across the globe. And he wants to come to visit chapters in diaspora for the mission of training and the mission of supporting the structure and reorganizing the SPLM in abroad. This is his mission, and we want the National Secretariat to give him a support. And I believe Comrade Peter Lam, Secretary General, is a part of the diaspora chapter, because he was a chapter in Canada, and now he become a SPLM General Secretary at nationwide. So I believe his being there is an opportunity to know the powerhouse and the resource that we have in diaspora cannot be left out. And I believe they have to come together and support the external office in order to deliver his job, so our party will be prepared for upcoming election 2024. And I appreciate the Lake Media, and also my thanks to all the viewers in social media. We will meet in another time, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much, the chairperson of SPLM Secretariat, USA, Honorable Manon Jokaleu, and the chairperson of SPLM New York, Dunlek Deng. To our viewers, thank you so much. On behalf of Lake State Media, I will give only appreciation in two categories. Number one is to appreciate you as viewers. We are interviewing our guests simply because of you. Otherwise, if you don't turn up, listen to them, ask them questions, then our work become meaningless and waste of our time and our resources at the same time. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. And if you don't follow us, we also ask you to follow Lagos State Media and always come and join us in order to listen and also share your view with us. Secondly, your thoughts, ideas on how we can upgrade Lagos State Media is more crucial to us, and we need it. Please be open, advise us adequately, and all of you, you know how we can move this country called South Sudan forward together. Second appreciation on behalf of Lagos State Media goes to our guest, Honorable Manon Jokaleu. Thank you so much. You actually gave us your time despite your schedule and busy. Sunday is the only day that anybody here in diaspora is the only day where someone may decide to stay with his family and maybe do some 1, 2, 3 here, establish communication with people in Africa, to ask our people back home how are they doing and all that, and then prepare ourselves to attack the new week, which is Monday. But you left all those things aside, and then you dedicate your time to come to Lagos State Media. On the same note, you did not get mad, including the chairperson of my state, which is Dunlek, my chairman. You did not also get mad because we gave you short notice, and that was yesterday evening. So to those who were mad that you gave them short notice, that president is coming, they need also to learn from you. That sometimes there are something that we need to compromise. You have compromised us as Lagos State Media, and we accept that for next time. We will inform you in advance so that you can also organize your talk and organize your agenda that you will come and articulate. And thank you so much. You have really articulated the issues that our people need to hear from you. To the chairperson of SPLM, actually New York, Dunlek, thank you so much. You have really come in and you spoke to the people of New York, and I'm pretty sure most of them have heard you. And the platform is for everybody. It's for any South Sudanese that is well informed politically, academically, socially, and economically. So you have chance to come to Lagos State Media, articulate your issues. Don't say it. If the SPLM has come to Lagos State Media, then we will not come. Not at all. You are also welcome to articulate your issues. I will always reach out to them to come and tell us what they are not satisfied with in the current government. And if you think there is somebody that we can reach out to bring on board too, then you can still contact us. And my last appreciation goes to Clubhouse, South Sudanese. Thank you so much, my fellow citizen. You are doing a great job. I will never consider how you discuss your ideas on how you articulate them, as long as you are talking about the affairs of our country. Whether you use negative language or positive language, all of them contribute to the shaping of our country. To that juncture, up to this juncture, actually, I may say thank you so much. May God bless all of you. May God bless South Sudan, and may God bless our continent, Africa. Be blessed, and we meet next time.
Painting William Toyina Will Walla Pibor Painting William Toyin Juba Malatori Hey Ambio Painting William Toyin Benti Walla Kwaju Hey wow Painting William Toyin Malkal Walla Pinyaram Painting William